Welcome to the Downtown, brought to you by our Media. I'm Daryl Smith Jr., and across the internet from me is...
I am Rody John.
On today's show, we talk with Mark Joeckel about the West Main Arts Festival that is happening this Saturday, May 14th, from 12 to 8 p.m., 4 stages of music, art, food, drinks, so much more. Come out, enjoy the downtown area with an incredible art festival, and come see us.
That's right. We'll be there all day. Also on the show today, we speak to CEO of the Pro Bull Riders, Sean Gleason, about the PBR World Finals that kicks off this Friday out in Fort Worth and runs through May 22nd.
You know, they got to come back here. Come back to AT&T Stadium, right?
Well,
back out here.
From my sources, I believe they have a 3-year deal with Fort Worth. And then possibly
maybe. All right.
If things go the way they're supposed to.
Well, incredible venue for that sort of thing. I think at AT&T Stadium, world class.
Yes.
We saw WrestleMania there. So.
Yeah, I mean, we hosted them in 2020. But Dickies is a fantastic new venue as well. But it's not just going to be, I mean, as you hear in the interview, it's not just at Dickies. It's all over the stockyards, and, you know, what says Fort Worth more than bull riding and cowboy stuff. So
agreed completely. But you know, come to the art festival this weekend, y'all. It's going to be fun. It's going to be lots. It looks like even better than last year, and last year was better than the year before, and the year before was better than the year before. So, you know, I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I mean, we mentioned it last year. It felt like a family reunion because it was just the who's who of people out in Arlington that we have, you know, made great connections with. And, you know, we were only there just a little bit last year. This year, we have our own booth. We're going to be there all day, and we're going to be broadcasting live on all or some of our social medias.
Yeah,
and, you know, we may even put together a greatest hits, if you will, of, you know, that 8-hour span that is the West Main Arts Festival. So if you want to come bring us food, if you want to come bring us drinks, I mean, we'll be there and we'll eat it and we'll drink it. So
and we'll talk, and it'll be a great time, family fun, right in downtown Arlington.
Exactly. And if you want to be on the show yourself, come on. We would love to have you, your mom, your sister, your father, your grandfather. They all have great stories, and
time permitting. This is only this is not that, but yes, come out, talk to us. We'd love to hear from you, and, you know, see what kind of story you had to tell about your Arlington.
We are here with Mark Joeckel from the West Main Arts Festival and Create Arlington. How are you today, sir?
I am fantastic. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Doing great. It's a beautiful, well, it's a pretty overcast, but it's a beautiful, it feels nice outside.
It really does.
At the library, back at the library.
We are back at the library.
Look at this beautiful library scene. Every time I've been on your show, I've never taken any pictures or shot any videos.
Really?
So I said to myself,
yeah, you need to start
I'm going to
taking
remember
photos.
to do that some.
Yeah.
So I actually get you guys covered, even though the screens cover up your. Looks like you have a mask on. So. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah,
Appreciate
absolutely. It. We were actually thinking, like, how many times has Mark been on the show now? But I actually think it's only been officially twice.
Yeah.
I think we've talked a lot.
Yeah,
right.
When you guys were down at using our space. You know, I have event regrets still about being out of town when you guys had your 100th.
Oh, yeah.
You know, whenever you can't make, and you see all the social media of something,
Right.
and I'm like, no, I should have canceled that trip. But I had a trip planned to go, a friend of mine, we go and listen to a lot of music in Austin.
Yeah.
And we'd already got the tickets and everything already purchased, you know. But
Who'd you go see?
Watching the video, at that time, gosh, that's been so long ago.
I know it really was.
Jimmy Vaughn, we went to see.
Okay, you know what? That's fine.
At the
I'm
Continental
okay.
Club.
I understand missing us with Jimmy
Yeah,
Vaughn.
it was really a good show. We always get to see a lot. Bob, a high school friend of mine, he's like live music junkie, so
Gotcha.
he always arranges it for us. So.
Sure.
But anyhow, glad to be here today, though.
Well, 200 show, we'll have you on, and we'll figure that
Golly,
out.
what are you at now? What is this?
That's only, it'll be one.
This will be
doing
120.
Yeah. This one will be 120.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so
You guys keep going.
we
Did
got
you
this-
ever think you'd be going this long when you
No.
guys first out?
Not at all.
I know, and you guys know from the podcast, well, people get
Yeah.
excited to start them, but longevity is
Yeah.
very rare.
Right. We've been lucky to actually, I mean, there's still so much in the city we haven't even touched.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, we do obviously have multiple 5-time people. So, but having still so much to talk about, and the city's still developing so much and still growing, it's a
I
beautiful
don't
thing.
think we'll ever not have anything to talk about.
Which is always good.
Well, yeah, y'all's social media, you guys are everywhere. That
try.
amazes
Yeah.
me, all the stuff. Because I will, I think I know a lot about Arlington, but I'll see places you post like, I didn't even know that was here.
Yeah. There's a lot of times I'll just drive by. I'm like, what is that? And so
And
then
you
I got to
just
pull
pull
it.
over.
Yeah.
He really does
have to.
take that
What-
rediscover your
so
city.
none of those are preset. You just show up and walk in and ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
People love it.
They do. I mean, there's so many good local mom and pop places, and I always tell people, whatever your favorite chain restaurant is,
Find
at
the
one
mom and pop.
point was a mom and pop place.
Right.
So, like Hurtado, they're about to have their second location. D's Smith's Chicken Place already has 2 here
Right,
in
yeah,
Arlington.
right,
So
yeah.
there's multiple people that have multiple locations
Right.
already here in Arlington that
That
are probably
started.
going to be bigger.
Yeah.
Like Biscuit Bar, they started out in Plano. Now there's at least 15 different
Right.
locations. So
Yeah, wild.
it's lovely.
Well, we're going to talk about the West Main's Arts Festival because it's
Excellent.
coming up.
Yeah.
And we're excited about it. We're going to be there.
Yeah, you guys are going to be, thanks for sponsoring again. And you guys are going to be out there
Yes,
doing
sir.
interviews and
We are.
everything.
We are.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. So come out and say hello to us.
Find us. We're obviously going to have our tent up with our banner, and we're going to be, live streaming all day. So bring us beer, bring us food, bring us. Just come say hi, basically.
Cool. You guys will be right across the street from from Create Arlington.
Oh,
Nice.
perfect.
So, and that's right in front of Theater Arlington.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Even better.
Well, the Arts Festival is happening May 14th from 12 to 8 p.m. This year it's bigger than ever. We got 5 blocks of music, 100 art booths, food trucks, food vendors, a beer and wine garden. What can we look forward to?
Well, I think every year it kind of rotates because we always have something new each year. So this year we have one of the things we expanded on, and things keep expanding because vendors keep selling so much.
Sure.
Yeah.
So like last year, Candlelight, one of our stage sponsors, they do the beer and wine, and last year they ran out with 2 hours to go
Right,
still
right.
in the event.
It was
So this year we're doing 2 locations tented, more of a
Very
beer
cool.
garden kind of setting.
Yeah.
More of a hangout kind of place because once again, the stages are in different locations because we've expanded, but trying to position most of the food is going to be by the main stage as well as one of the beer and wine tents, which is on Oak Street.
Right.
That's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, right in between. It's really a cool location, and I think it actually, if I could ever get some people behind it, that it's a section that would make it for a really great semi-permanent stage and
Yes.
Yeah.
like food truck kind of area there because it's just kind of a dead end into
it's
the
a
railroad
dead end, right?
tracks.
That's what I
Food Truck
told
Fridays. I
Yeah,
think that'd be
and but some way to I've been to a couple places that have utilized, kind of streets that aren't used that actually set up the water and electric and all that for food trucks just to pull up and
that would be a
consistently
great
do that.
location for
Because
it.
we don't have any food or beverage on that end of Maine yet.
right.
But anyhow, so that'll be the Candlelight Inn stage will be on that end, and so this year we're able to do 4 stages. One of them at Arlingtonite stage will be more of a busking kind of stage. It won't officially be a stage. And then down here in Gene Allen, right around the corner from where we're at, will be our second stage. And that, if you guys have never seen that or your listeners never seen that, that's been 25 years ago that they redid Main Street down here and widened it and put wide sidewalks, and that Gene Allen Park actually was terraced that way for live music.
Okay.
So you don't even have to put a stage on that because you'll see that it's kind of tiered, and they got power up there, and so we'll have a stage there as well. That Living Magazine Arlington is one of our stage sponsors
Right.
this year, and so then down the road from that at the corner of Pecan, we've extended all the way down to Pecan to Abrams Street.
Very
so
nice.
literally just, I keep saying literally, literally, and I'm pointing at stuff, and this is a podcast. So over here,
Right.
Behind
us, yeah.
right at the corner of Pecan and Abrams Street,
Mm-hmm.
UTA Radio came on as a stage sponsor this year as
okay.
well too. So, and that's really a co-sponsored with the UTA football team, and they're programming the music, and got great lineups on
That lineup for that
all the
stage.
stage.
I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
All the music.
Yeah.
But that stage alone is just bangers.
Yeah,
on top of bangers.
it's stellar. I don't have the list in front of me, but
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
do. I really came prepared. I bring flyers, but not the schedule.
Well, some of the highlights for me. I mean, obviously the whole lineup is great, but Sly Fungi, Chef D, Lemonade Stand, Cherry Mantis.
Yeah, that's the UTA radio
Like,
stage. That's
yeah.
just a banger after banger after
Right,
banger
it
on that
is.
stage.
And that's just a
What's one stage?
glimpse. Yeah, that's just
That's
one
one
stage. You got
stage.
4 stages. So, and that's just so much good music already.
really is.
That just they're local talent. There's
Yeah.
so much good talent here in not only Metroplex but in Arlington alone.
Yeah, it's insane what happens every year with the amount of bands that come forward, and we have to put deadlines out of when people can apply for vendors.
right.
And I mean, just today I got 2 more emails. Oh, we got this great band. I'm like, applications closed 3 weeks
Yeah.
ago. So we try to push that further out. So the bands, as well as this week, we'll be announcing all of the vendors, all the artists in those booths. So we'll be publishing that this week. And so it'll be right around 100, if not a little more. It'll be about 85 artist vendors, and then we have about 15 of our artists that will be set up at Create Arlington. So
Right.
they have full-time studio spaces
Right.
there. So they're able to, and we'll be able to open that, and they'll be turning their workspaces in a little bit more of a retail space for the
Right.
day of the festival. So, man, it'll be 100 strong of local creatives. And so when we talk about our vendors, our creative vendors, so what we ask is that everything has to be handcrafted.
Sure.
Right.
A lot of those are painters. We've got potters. We've got jewelry makers. But as we, take a look at, the submissions, that's the main thing we look for. Now didn't have enough space, so we ended up having to turn away about 25 vendors
Right.
this year as well too. But so that's a good thing to have. And
Exactly.
but that's what we want to make sure that when people come, you're going to be seeing, stuff that somebody has made with their own hands. And, the variety is huge once again. One of the fan favorites is they actually make it on location, but it's called Woodworkers Arlington. I know I'm not saying that properly, but they bring out about 6 lathes.
Oh, and then make stuff.
And
there.
they're actually
Oh, cool.
running their lathes. Am I saying that?
Yeah,
Lathes.
You're saying it right.
And they actually make things for people as you stand and watch. And I remember using those in shop in high school over at Carter. And I was always fascinated then, but I didn't, junior high schoolers, we didn't really know what we're
Right,
doing.
right.
But watching these real pros just create that right in front of your eyes. So, we'll have that is always a real fan favorite. Then the library is involved again. And they do such cool things with kids. And a home run last year, because this is very kid-friendly, pet-friendly,
Yeah,
family-friendly. But right outside here, as I point to a location right outside the library in this grassy area, they set up all of their foam building blocks and play toys, and it's all instructional. It's all connected with, building things. It's like Lego materials, but soft material that you can play with and mold.
They've been here. My kid loves them.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
loves them.
So there's always lots of things for the kids to do. And then we'll have about 10 different food vendors. Like I said, we'll be announcing those this week.
Okay.
But I do know from the preliminary list, you're going to be able to get great barbecue.
Nice.
We always have some interesting fair foods, the frozen, Oreos and those kind of fun things.
Yeah.
As well as a good variety of food. So pretty much for any palate for all ages. And that will be down on Oak Street. So this year we've last year, you learn every year.
Of course.
Well, last year when we set up, we literally had a traffic jam of trying to get food trucks into an area that I thought I had measured appropriately, but I obviously didn't because their turning radius was far greater than what I anticipated. And so that will be a real asset. But this year too, it'll be going all the way down to Pecan Street. All the way down to Abrams Street on Pecan Street. And so we've been partnering with the Levitt on preparations for this year, and so it's more connectivity to there. And their music, Carlos Ramos starts playing at 7:30.
Yep.
So our music ends on our stage is about 7:20.
Yeah.
Carlos is the opener, and the name of the headliner for the Levitt slips my mind. Maybe you can look that up real quick. But they are a national Latino band, and so basically downtown for free from noon till 10:30. There's live music, family friendly, just to be here all day.
You could spend all day down here.
Literally. I'm going to butcher this name. It's La Santa Cecilia?
Pretty close.
Cecilia? Yes, probably Cecilia.
I can't correct you.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So,
and then the other thing that's going on that night too, it's one of the performance. Theater Arlington has one of their performances that night.
That's right.
So, we've talked about a cultural district, cultural arts district. Ours is officially called a cultural district, but we always seem to say cultural arts district. But this is the epitome of it, to where when you come down to Arlington on a weekend, there's going to be something going on, and like this will be on steroids going on, because it'll be from noon to 10:30, live music, food, vendors, and then the theater will be having their performance going on, and also it's really what so many people have been working for such a long time.
Like the culmination of.
It's starting to happen now. Best case scenario is we have a festival like what we do every month of some sort, to accentuate everything that's going on. But it's really exciting to see what's come together for this year.
So what was the response to last year's festival?
Last year just kind of rocked all of our worlds, because it was like the first event coming out of COVID.
It really was. Yeah.
And so
it felt like a family reunion. I told people that I was seeing people I hadn't seen in forever.
Totally. And what happened, it was like that week before when they said, it's okay not to have your mask on at outdoor events. Yeah. And man, I think people just unloaded from that. So we had about 10,000 people there last year, and the response, was crazy. And some things just like I underestimated too on porta potties, and we were way low on that, and that's probably the biggest feedback of what were you guys thinking? And I was thinking, well, 5,000 people maybe, not 10,000.
Right.
So we doubled up this year. So we'll have 8 porta potties this year.
There you go.
We'll have like these are all the minutia of these, but a 14-yard dumpster.
Okay.
Because trash for 10,000.
It's a lot.
I was out there emptying trash cans, pulling the trash bag out and the beer pouring all over you, just that sexy, fun stuff about running a festival. But, UTA football team and our volunteers are so huge. And this year we're, calling out for volunteers again. We got 3 different shifts for people to work, everything from, trash duty to entry portals where people are coming in to helping all the artists and vendors set up as well too.
I mean, every little bit helps when it comes to things like this, and it takes a village as well to help put a festival on of this size.
Yeah, and the glue to the whole thing is Amanda. She's the manager of all of receiving all of the applications, reviewing them all, taking all the payment. I mean, with this many people being involved too, it's every year it's just the logistics have gotten more and more, and our web developer and David Hopkins, worked together so good this year on making it a little easier. There's always some things because we're not a massive festival with this crazy software. But I want everything running straight through our website, to get that web traffic through. But there are platforms I know that we're going to have to graduate to in the future that, are a lot better for that thing. But, there's so many people, and then the UTA football team, and then my son Christian, he's doing all the volunteer stuff, and Garrett, and then also Lily with the football team that makes up our committee, along with David Conant, who you guys know has done over the last 8 to 10 years. That's when him and I both started at the same time with Arlington Knights and Arlington Proud. and the amount of work he does, and he puts together all of the bands, all the
Right.
stages, and takes in all of those applications and has that work of telling some people no and all that kind of stuff. So it's a growing team, but it's about 8 or 10 locals that work together to make this thing happen every year. But circling back to your question earlier of what was the response to last year, once we kind of debriefed on it and everything, one of the questions that brings to the table with continued growth in size is if we're going to become a 2-day event. And that is a whole nother animal to take on to a second day. But at the same time, when you do a 2-day event, you're able to recruit more sponsors. So it's to scale in a lot of ways. So this year we decided not to do it, but we'll see in the future. But hey, it's a strong 1-day event, and we don't want to mess with that. None of us have a whole lot of extra time to add much more to that. But in the future, we would have to become more of a professional festival, so to speak.
Of course. I mean, also, having so we're obviously wrestling fans, and WrestleMania, they think about the next one before this year's even started.
About years before.
So honestly, that could be something that you could start thinking, all right, next year, what can we do here? What can we do? Start planning it now.
Yeah, because, I think at least for now, anything could happen with COVID, but I think at least for outdoor events, we're in the clear for the next year or so.
Exactly.
But, we're following it up this year with a little more specifics of, we do a monthly pop-up. So our goal is to have something monthly happening, so that people know when they come down. We've done this third Thursday for the last year and a half or so. And so that artists continue to have a regular opportunity to sell, because that's why Create Arlington was started, was to be a platform for helping creatives start their own business. And in the end, we've got to sell product, and that's, without events, it's very hard for local artists to create income. More and more of them doing, a lot of our artists every month, they're doing better with their online sales, and as they create that online presence and all. But that's really the baseline of why this started, for giving locals an opportunity to perform and to sell their wares. So that goal we've got to keep focused on, and not just getting bigger.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you talked a little bit about some of the sponsors. Are there any other sponsors you want to shout out?
Gosh, we've got our stage sponsors are Petchy and Living Magazine and UTA Radio, and then Downtown Arlington's one of our easel sponsors, kind of an in between. And then this year we have 10 canvas sponsors. So there'll be 10 up till now. There might be more than that, but we have 10 canvas sponsors, which is a way for businesses that are non-art related to have a tent, to have a booth at it. So, that's everything. I don't know if you have that list there that you could run through real quick for me.
Liberty Marketing, Precision Press, Great Hearts Academies, Dream City Music, Wind Hill Advertisers, DFW, Judge Mary Tom Kernet, Levitt Pavilion, Arlington Arts League, Renewal by Anderson, Dino Rock Indoor Climbing Center. So, that's just
So it's a cool range of sponsors. And so we continue to help do whatever we can. Thankfully, we've got a good social media reach and email reach, so that we think the sponsors get a lot of value leading in, as well as we also do promotional posts after the event. Because more and more now with sponsors, it used to be back in the day, you could just have their name up on a board at the event. But now, with social media and everything, there's a certain amount of shout outs you got to give. And you don't have to, but if you want more sponsors.
It helps, And it also, they can share it as well, because once you tag them on there, then they see it, and then they can share it to all their people as well.
Well, and that's what, because this year we'll spend maybe $400 or $500 on marketing, and that's and what's happened. And not that it was any great plan, because 7-8 years ago when we first started this, it was the beginning of, Facebook had been fairly well established. But what we didn't realize it's just this crazy swirl. So you've got, we get graphics to all of our vendors, so that's 100 people.
Right.
Then you got 30 bands. Then you got 25, 30 sponsors. And then all of a sudden, everybody's just posting and posting and posting.
Right.
And I mean, we can't track it all because there's so many different people posting.
Right.
We try to get as many people to use our hashtag or tag West Main. But, it's just hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views.
Yeah.
And as a result, the crowds, it's a very organic, and you guys have been to this.
Yeah.
It's very young,
Yep.
very diverse, very Arlington. It's
Yeah.
really an interesting a crowd that comes out.
Yeah,
and that's really the secret sauce to it. Once again, it was no genius plan. It was just that's what social media can do for an event.
Yeah.
And this year we've given a graphic, come find me at, the Arlington, the West Main Arts Festival, and some more specific tools to help them get the word out.
Cool.
But it's crazy. And then I like a lot of the bands too, they create an event for their performance, and tag us. So then I'm getting all these co-hosts, you guys,
Right.
you guys do social media. So
We
it's
know.
fun
Yeah,
to
yeah.
just watch it build.
Right.
And I mean, I would love to do, more advertising just because you're supposed to, but in this situation, because we started so organically,
Right.
it's just stayed that way.
Yeah.
And, so there's maybe not as many guaranteed, but based on our track record, this is our 6th year to do it.
Right.
So we hope that pays off again this year.
Well, people just look forward to it every year now. So
Yeah, it's kind of an event that I know I look forward to it every year.
Yeah.
I'm always like, all right, man, it's May. Let's rock
Yeah.
and roll.
Well, and Steve, so that still surprises me because, I think about 10 years ago when we started doing the murals, there was like, 30 of us in this core group, and that made a little bit of noise and gained some traction with people, but it was so few and so early. And I think back to that, when we had 20 artists show up for that first meeting like 10 years ago to paint those murals to what's happened to now. And I mean, we got 45 live music venues.
Wow.
There's art related stuff going on all the time, and so it's amazing to see what the last 10 years has developed, but you can never underestimate, 20 or 30 people passionate about the arts and changing the world,
Yeah. And I don't see that changing anytime soon.
I hope it does.
No, the energy's gone. I mean, I turned 58 this year, and that's like, I always tell my staff or people I work with on committees, it's stupid, but I call it, nobody even knows what a Mack truck is anymore. But early on in my career, one of my mentors, you would call it the Mack truck effect, which was if you walked out of here and got hit by a Mack truck, what would happen to your nonprofit, your business, your cultural groups you're on, your committees, just anything, what would happen, So, like, it's fun to see that because, like, if the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ were to take me home anytime soon, I'm very confident. I mean, things are rocking and rolling. The things that we've worked on and what's happening at Create and the festival, for instance. And, you guys are young as can be. And then we got this UTA football team and Garrett and that whole crew. None of them are over 25, I think.
No,
right.
It's just so refreshing.
And they're getting new faces in there all the time, too.
I mean, this new football team's having a little pop-up vendor event down at Create this afternoon, it's all new faces each year. They recruit new students, and I think this year they brought in 40 into the group.
I saw their, like, for one of their meetings that they had at Create, and I was like, there's so many people in there.
And when I talked to them, like last night, I met one of the guys up there, one of the students, to go over, just give them the code to get in and just, and man, they're so interesting and they're so passionate and they're so excited and they like really look to the future of like, I'm going to stay here in Arlington once I'm done with school.
I'm building something here and we're gonna keep building it.
And so I think when Garrett and them started the football team, they had that in mind. But I think what's really come out of this is this students wanting to stay here, which has been our Achilles heel here in Arlington because so few students live on campus. More do now than ever. But still not as many stay as we would like once they're finished with school.
Well, I, for one, appreciate that you guys are continuing to put the art in Arlington. So thank you so much for the West Main Arts Festival. This is going to be the 6th year.
It's our pleasure.
And we're going to be out there.
We are.
Yeah, all day.
All day long.
Yeah, we were only there a couple of hours last year, but this year we're going to be there all
You're
day.
in.
Yeah,
We're in.
all day.
Hot or cold, you're going to be outside under your tent.
No matter how much that tent might blow, depending on the wind, we're
telling
going to
you.
be
That's
there.
right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll follow us on Instagram at Create Arlington, at West Main Street, at Arlington Proud on Instagram, and then this next week you'll see the vendors and all the food vendors and everything, so you can really gear up. But bring your bikes if you want, folding chairs,
There you
bring
go.
the whole
Yeah.
family, especially the folding chairs. We have some seating areas, but bring your folding chairs so you can, just post up in front of a
Right.
couple of these stages and
It's
just
very
make a day out of
spacious.
it.
You absolutely can. We did
can.
last year.
We did.
We posted up and did several interviews.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, the lineup for all the musicians are online right now as well on your Facebook. And then the food and vendors are going to come out.
Yeah,
I can't wait to
this week,
see what.
CreateArlington.com has everything.
There we go.
Thank you guys for having me
Yeah.
once again. Always
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
We are here with Sean Gleason, the CEO and Commissioner of PBR Pro Bull Riding. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. Just landed in the great city of Fort Worth. So.
Oh,
Happy.
fantastic. I mean, it's a beautiful city, as you know. So,
Absolutely.
and Fort Worth is going to be the home for the PBR World Finals. It's going to be happening at Dickies Arena, May 13th through the 22nd. And it's more than just bull riding. There's so many events happening that week. What can people look forward to?
Well, we've got a little bit of everything. We've got all the traditional great surrounding entertainment that we have had at the World Finals for the last 29 years. So we've got ABBI, which is our bucking bull competition that'll be happening over at Will Rogers. We've got music virtually every day. We've got Flint Rasmussen's Outside the Barrel. We've got pre-shows. We've got post-shows. There is a little something for everybody this year.
It really is. I mean, so last year it was at AT&T Stadium here in Arlington, and now it's over in Fort Worth, which couldn't be a better spot for not only bull riding but everything encompassing that weekend, because the rodeo that happens out in Fort Worth in the stockyards is a huge deal, and this on top of that, it's almost like people get their dose of the rodeo and bull riding and everything twice within 1 year, which is absolutely even better.
Yeah, we're looking forward to this year. Actually, last year was our last year in Las Vegas. In 2020, we were forced out of Vegas due to COVID and came down to AT&T Stadium, and that really led to where we're at today, which is for the foreseeable future. The PBR World Finals are held at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, and we also have assumed responsibility for programming Cowtown Coliseum and the Stockyards District. We actually are managing the Cowtown Rodeo now, and so it's integrated along with a lot of other great content like Bulls Gone Wild and some other new content that we're going to experiment with during the PBR World Finals.
Right.
Down here in the Stockyards.
It's true. And so during the PBR World Finals weekend, we'll also feature concert series with big names such as Travis Tritt, Leanne Rimes, Charlie Crockett, and the legend Robert Earl Keen, who's on his farewell tour right now. This is very exciting and worth more than the price of admission alone.
Absolutely. I'm really excited about the music lineup, and especially Robert Earl Keen. He's a longtime favorite of mine, and so he's going to cap off our final Saturday night and May 21st, and it's one that I can assure you I'm not going to miss.
I imagine you wouldn't know. Now, who is your favorite going into the finals? I mean, Vieira is ranked number 1, but Dalen Swearingen is hot on his heels at number 2. Not to mention, Leamy has, won it last year, so he is looking to be the first back-to-back winner. Who's your favorite going into the finals?
Actually, he's won it the last 2 years. He's looking to be the first three. He's the first to repeat 3 times in a row, and honestly, it's really hard to pick anybody over Jose Vitor when he's riding. at the top of his game. He's probably the best we've ever seen in our 30 years of history. And but man, Dalen Swearingen, and he's just stepped his game up this year, and he's very committed. And Joao Ricardo is a perennial number 2, and so I'm not supposed to have favorites that I'm rooting for, but if there's one guy I would love to see win it, it's 37-year-old Joao Ricardo Vieta, and I don't know that he's got a lot of years left, and I'd love to see him win it this year.
But very true. Now, looking forward a little bit, in October is the first ever bull riding team league. Now, our very own DFW team, the Ariat Texas Rattlers, will be hosting their inaugural homestand here October 7th through 9th. Can you touch a little on the team bull riding league and how it came to be?
Yeah, it was a plan that we had written back in 2007, and it took a number of years for us to get the stars to align, and being able to move the World Finals for the Unleash the Beast Series to Texas and here in Fort Worth at Dickies Arena was one of the big steps that allowed us to launch teams. And so there's 8 inaugural teams. As you mentioned, the Texas Rattlers are based here in Fort Worth at Dickies Arena. So we'll be back with a team event. It'll feature all 8 teams. They play 5-on-5 head-to-head games in bull riding, and win, lose, or draw, and the record matters because we follow that season, 10 events through the regular season to T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas in November.
That's fantastic. And I know T-Mobile has been y'all's headquarters for the World Finals for a very long time. And as you mentioned, in 2020, y'all moved it here due to the COVID restrictions out in Las Vegas. How is the feeling from Las Vegas to Texas? Because obviously Texas has a very rich history when it comes to not only bull riding, but rodeo and the cowboy lifestyle in general.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I have been trying for years to figure out a way to get the Unleash the Beast PBR World Finals to Texas because, and not just Texas, but specifically to Cowtown. There's a cowboy renaissance going on, and the heart of it is right here in the stockyards. And it's the place where our traditional, long-standing, successful sport belongs for its championship. And the team championship actually fits well in Las Vegas. It's a shorter event, 3 days, in and out over a weekend. But, when we come down here, it's 2 solid weeks of hard work and lots of fun. And there's no other place for it than Fort Worth, Texas.
You're not wrong there. Now, you've done...
We love Texas. We love Texas.
As do we. So, we wouldn't still be here otherwise. Now, you've done so much to help make pro bull riding and other Western sports more mainstream. What were some of the adversities you faced throughout the years, and how do you feel the future of Western sports is?
Well, the adversity is really educating the uneducated on what bull riding is. I mean, we've got a lot of fans that have grown up with the sport. They understand it and they follow it. But when you have events in Madison Square Garden and Crypto.com Arena in downtown LA, our job is really to educate and attract new fans to bull riding and then use that springboard to grow fans of the Western lifestyle. And we've done a pretty good job of that over the years, but it's a difficult challenge. You start by telling people that, guys are getting on bulls in a dirt arena, and a lot of people think it's not for them. And once you get them to come out, you've got them hooked. So that's our biggest challenge, and we continue to make a lot of headway. And I think Teams is going to do a lot for us on that front because it's a much easier format for the general and casual fan to understand. They understand team sports, team 1 against team 2, and that's what we're going to deliver, and that's what will resonate, I think, with new fans. And then we'll continue to convert them into our way of life.
I mean, you're so true, because when I attended the event here at AT&T Stadium, I never thought anything bad about bull riding or rodeos in general. I just was like, okay, well, that's, I'm not a big Western person, but, I've always grew up here in the DFW area, so of course it was part of the lifestyle out in Fort Worth. I had people in high school that were into all that, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And then I was there, and I was like, wow, no, these dudes are not only legit athletes, they might be some of the best athletes in the entire world, because you're like, most people are, in traditional sports, you are playing against a human being. This one, you are literally fighting you're not fighting, but you're fighting in the sense that you're riding a gigantic animal that does not want you on them whatsoever, and they're doing everything they can to buck you off of them. So, like you said, once you actually get people there to see it live, it is a completely different story.
Yeah, it is. It's the only sport really where you have a lightweight against a heavyweight, 150-pound cowboy against a 1,500-pound bull. And it's, and a lot of people do. They just start out thinking they're not going to be entertained. And at the core, the sport of bull riding is extremely entertaining. It's an 8-second adrenaline rush every time the chute gate opens. And so our job has been to really wrap that in a contemporary entertainment experience for fans. So when they do show up, they have a great time, and they walk out of there saying, wow, that was not what I expected it to be. And we get that so often up and down the road from city to city, fans walking out of the arena going, that was so much fun. I didn't expect it. And they return. They come back. And so we hook them with the spectacle of bull riding, and then we win their hearts and minds with the sport, because they become fans. They follow it. That's how we've grown over 30 years.
That's the best way to do it, is to actually get people there live to see it. Because so I've been a fan of pro wrestling my entire life, and of course I've been made fun of being a fan of pro wrestling my entire life. But I've gotten friends to actually go to events, and they're like, you know what, that was so much fun, and I get it. Like, I'm sucked in now too.
Yeah, there's a reason that it's highly, highly successful, very profitable business for the McMahons, is because they put on a very entertaining product. And it is one of those other sports where you have to go to see it. I think NASCAR is the same way.
Right.
And NASCAR event on television isn't as exciting and visceral as it is when you're there at the track and hear the cars and the power that's going on. And bull riding's a lot the same way. It's when you hear that chute gate clang open and that bull explodes out of the bucking chutes, it's not what you thought it was going to be if you've never seen it before.
You're exactly right. Seeing almost anything live is far better than seeing it on TV, because the experience of not only, let's say you're going it for the first time, the fans that do go to it on a regular basis or do follow it are absolutely rabid, and you catch that energy from them. And if you could put that in a bottle, you'd be a millionaire.
Yeah, well, we try very hard. We produce our own television. We have been for about 10 years, and we brought it in-house because we felt like the story needed to be told better and differently. And we do great ratings on CBS and CBS Sports Network, and we reach, frankly, our biggest audience is on TV. So we're not failing there, but it just isn't the same. And once we get them to the event, that becomes a lifelong fan. When they're tuning in on television, they enjoy the sport, but they're not passionate about it, or as passionate as somebody that's attended.
Right. And then you've also done a great job online of doing these mini documentaries about the riders and telling the story of themselves, because watching them, is fine. And you're like, okay, I like that guy a little bit. I like that guy. But once you hear their story, then you're hooked. And then you're like, okay, I can get behind this person, which I may not have known anything about before, but now I'm hooked and I'm rooting for them.
Riders and bulls. We tell the stories of both great athletes, because that's how our bulls are treated. They're great athletes. Their merchandise still outsells rider merchandise, unfortunately, but as we continue to tell the story of these great athletes, they're such remarkable young men, raised with the right values. They are the toughest athletes pound for pound that I've ever seen, and would challenge anybody to come in and try and dispute that. And they're still humble. It's still a sport where they don't get paid big guaranteed contracts. What they earn has to be earned on the dirt by making a successful bull ride and scoring enough points to beat the guy next to you.
Right. You're right. Now, speaking of the riders, as we're recording, there was a combine for bull riders up in Colorado at the PBR Sports Performance Center. Can you tell us a little bit more about the state-of-the-art facility, and then also about the combine?
Yeah, the combine actually started this morning. I've got to head back late tonight because we've got a big day tomorrow with 60 to 70 prospective bull riders that want to make one of the teams. So they're up there competing physically and on bulls, and all of our coaches and general managers are in town evaluating the talent because we've got some great bull riders that people can see week in and week out on the Unleash the Beast Tour, the top 35 in the world, but each team is 7 active roster members and 3 practice squad members for 10. So we've got to field 80 bull riders to fill up the rosters for the teams. So the combine is at the PBR Sport Performance Center. It's a facility that we built. It's a professional sports training facility. It's an incredible gym, but it's not a gym. It's there really to help bull riders learn how to be better bull riders. And for us, it's a kind of a beacon of athleticism that we built and put into motion so that we would have a center where we could start a process that really had never been done before, which is teaching bull riders how to be better bull riders. Most of these guys learn from their dad or their uncle who, got on one bull in the 70s or maybe 100 bulls in the 70s. Different caliber of bull and a different mentality back in the day. But that's how most of our young bull riders get started, is from a family member. So we're putting a lot of investment into training and education. If you're a young athlete and you're of the right stature, which is not huge, so you're not going to be an offensive lineman for a football team, you should consider bull riding as a career because you'll make $10 million if you're good at it.
That's a very good selling tool right there.
Yeah, well, we need more bull riders, for sure. We've got, the bulls have been on a breeding program for about 30 years, and they have a lifespan of 7 to 10 years, and so we've turned over a lot of generations of bull riders, and haven't turned over that many generations or a lot of generations of bulls and not that many generations of bull riders. So we want to keep helping them get better and be able to tackle these monsters that they get on.
Now, with this team bull riding and you guys are doing with the Sports Performance Center, what do you see the future of bull riding is?
Well, I think we're going to continue a trajectory that we've been on for a number of years. Since 2015 up until, the pandemic shut the world down, we were setting record on top of record in terms of attendance and television viewership. We were the last sport to go down during the pandemic. We had the last event in North America. We were the first sport back for TV, and it really didn't slow us down that much. But obviously the restrictions and gatherings and everything has, taken its toll on every sport. We came out of it strong as ever, and we're setting records again. And so we're just going to continue doing what we do and stay on the growth trajectory that we're on. And one of these days, I think that we'll get the recognition we deserve for being one of the major sports in the United States.
I mean, I believe so too. I mean, like I said, once I saw it live, I was in. I was hooked. So I believe the future is very bright for bull riding and Western sports in general. So especially with y'all moving here to Texas, it just makes it, obviously everything's bigger in Texas, so it just makes this even bigger as well.
Well, we appreciate folks like you that take the time to come out and understand it and then tell others about it, because it's, again, in the media space, a lot of the New York and LA media just don't think bull riding is for them, and so they dismiss us as a niche sport. But, our television ratings and our attendance figures rival their major sports, and it's something that ultimately we want to be recognized for. But if they don't, we'll still keep growing, and one of these days they can't ignore us.
It's true. I mean, at one point I'm sure ESPN didn't exactly cover NASCAR either, but now look at them. Or same thing with UFC. But, I mean, you can't argue with what the growth of UFC has done as well. So.
Yeah, they're our sister company, so we're very proud of them too.
Yeah,
but you're right. NASCAR really took 50 years before it kind of hit its stride. It was the 50th anniversary when they started having broader appeal than to just their niche audience. And we're 29 years in, so I'd say we've come farther faster than NASCAR did. It's certainly a different era with media coverage and social media, but we think we can double, triple the size of our business and the fan base, and that's what we're after.
I believe the same. Now, we have a segment on the show called Tournament of Toppings. We're trying to find the best pizza place. I know you don't live here in Arlington in the Metroplex, but do you have a favorite pizza place up in Colorado?
We don't have a great selection, to be perfectly honest, but Angelo's Pizza in Pueblo, Colorado is probably the most notable. But as soon as we're done, I'm going to go across to the Biscuit Bar in the Stockyards and grab a biscuit. So I don't think you call that pizza. But.
Well, I mean, Biscuit Bar's fantastic. Yeah, it started over in Plano, and they're just growing like crazy. And I don't see how that. I mean, they're getting big already in Texas. I can't wait to see them get outside of the state because it's so good. They have good drinks. They got good biscuits. Yeah. I mean, the loaded tops are amazing. So I fully support that.
What's your favorite pizza place? Because I'm relatively new on a regular basis to Fort Worth, but we spend considerably more time down here. So tell me where I should be going.
That's true. Well, over here in Arlington, I love Old School Pizza is by far one of the most top of the list for most people and their favorite pizza places here in Arlington. Fort Worth, I mean, Connie Rosa is great too, and they have those in Fort Worth. They have it in Arlington, and they always do a different pizza of the month, which is absolutely amazing. So I would definitely recommend Connie Rosa if you're going to be out in Fort Worth. There used to be one on Magnolia, but now it used to be a brewery and a pizza place. Now it's a liquor store, so that place doesn't exist anymore. But I would definitely
what time of day it is, but that could come in more handy than a pizza place.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely recommend Connie Rosa for sure.
All right, I'll give it a try.
There you go. Now, if people wanted to find out more about the PBR World Finals and get tickets, how can they do so?
Just log on to PBR.com, follow the links to the World Finals, and you'll see everything that you need to get your tickets and find out what the entertainment schedule is. There's fan zones and a lot of other activities that will be going on both at Dickey's and in the Stockyards. And so even if you're not coming to the PBR performances, we encourage everybody to come down and enjoy something.
Exactly. And that concert lineup, again, is just absolutely incredible. There is literally something to do every day for a little over a week. So, like you said,
we're adding to it.
And that's even better that we're still so close to it and you guys are still adding more stuff on top of it.
Yeah, we like to throw a good party. So, that's one thing fans can be assured of is that we'll have a good time.
That's what it's all about, really. Well, Sean, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you out there at the PBR World Final.
Sounds good. Thank you much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much to Mark and Sean. Check out all these events. We've got obviously jam-packed weekend in the Metroplex. Check them both out. But definitely come check out Arlington or the West Main Arts Festival. Again, we'll be there. It's such a fun atmosphere. It is going to be a little hot. So bring some water. Get hydrated. Get that sunscreen. But come on out.
Yeah, also Levitt Pavilion's open now, so come on out to Levitt. It's free on the weekends. This will the West Main Arts Festival will back into the Levitt Pavilion as well. So, come on out.
You can have a whole day downtown Arlington. You can eat, you can drink, you can you go to art festival, you can go to art museum. You can check out the artist in the Create Arlington space. You can go to Levitt later that night. She goes to show you what an incredible time to be had in the city of Arlington. Speaking of all that, though, before we get There's some other things you can do this week and next week. Every first Sunday at 6 p.m. at Dr. Jekyll's, they host the Arlington Open Mic.
And then also head on over to Dr. Jekyll's on Monday night because that is their trivia night. It starts at 7 p.m.
And also head over on Tuesday to you can though. Dr. Jekyll's is a great place. You should go there all the time. Every Tuesday night from 8 p.m. to midnight, Blitz Lounge has their karaoke night.
And then every second Tuesday over at Create Arlington is their open mic / poetry night.
Every Wednesday at Jambo's, you can get the Meat Sweats, and you can check out UTA Jazz to cure you of the Meat Sweats at 5:30 to 7:30 p.m.
And then later that night, head on over to Division Brewing from 7 to 9. They do their trivia night.
And then on Thursday night at 8 p.m., One Love Lounge hosts their Artist Love Night, which is their open mic.
And then, not to mention, this Saturday, May 14th, from 12 to 8 p.m., the West Main Arts Festival comes to downtown Arlington. Come out for the music, the art, the vendors, and so much more, including us.
While you're doing all that, though, be sure to go out and
drink local, eat local, drink local, and
go rediscover your city.
Tag us and send those pictures over to us on Facebook, Arlington Citizen Media, Twitter, ATX Citizen Media. Tag us on Instagram, Arlington Citizen Media, and send those pictures the old-fashioned way. Email arlingtoncitizenmedia@gmail.com. Also go to our website, www.arlingtoncitizenmedia.com. Don't forget to subscribe and give those 5-star reviews of the downtown at Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcast, and also hit us on SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and YouTube.